Hello everyone! Welcome back to my vlog. Today, we will be diving into the classic tale, The Necklace by Guy De Maupassant. Get ready for a story filled with unexpected twists, powerful life lessons, and a shocking ending that will leave you rethinking everything you thought you knew about happiness and wealth. So, stay tuned as we unravel this timeless story and explore the true cost of vanity and the quest for social status. With that, I am Miss Michelle Boniao, and let's get started. So, for today's vlog, we will be discussing first, the author's background, second, the overview, third, the summary of the story, fourth, formalism, fifth, realism, and last but not the least, conclusion. So let us talk about first the author of the short story The Necklace. So he is Guy de Maupassant. Henry Rene Albert Guy de Maupassant was born on August 5, 1850 to Gustave and Laure de Maupassant at the Château de Miromesnil in France. He was a prolific writer who wrote over 300 short stories. And Maupassant was extremely successful during his lifetime, and The Necklace was an instant success. Although despite his wealth and popularity, Maupassant never married, partly out of fear of being abandoned by a loved one, as he was abandoned by his father. As he grew older, Maupassant became more withdrawn and obsessed with death. His infection with syphilis contributed to his growing dementia, and he was institutionalized after he tried to kill himself in 1891. And then he died 2 years later on July 6, 1893, in sanitarium. Let us now move on to the overview of this short story. The Necklace is a short story by French writer Guy de Maupassant. It was first published in 1884. It tells the story of Mathilde Loisel, a young woman who borrows a necklace from a wealthy friend to wear to a high society event, only to lose it and spend the next 10 years of her life in poverty, trying to replace it. The story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of materialism and social ambition, featuring one of Maupassant's infamous plot twists for which he was well known. Let us now proceed to the story of The Necklace by Guy de Maupassant. Let's start with its summary. The story of The Necklace was written 700 years ago by Guy de Maupassant in France. Mathilde Loisel lived in a small flat with her husband who worked as a clerk for the Minister of Education. Mathilde was a very pretty young lady. Neither did they live a luxurious life, nor were they poor. Mathilde was very unhappy because she was always thought that she was born for all luxuries in the world, but she had to live a petty and simple life. Her husband brought an invitation to a dinner party organized by his office. He thought his wife would be excited, but instead she was upset. She complained that she had nothing suitable to wear to such a great occasion. Her husband generously agreed to give her 400 francs that he had saved to buy a new rifle to get herself a dress. Mathilde became anxious in the week of the party. On asking her, she told her husband that she had no jewelry policy with her gown. He suggested that perhaps she could borrow something from her friend Jean Forrester. Jean heard her story of distress, and she generously opened her box of jewels. Mathilde borrowed a sparkling diamond necklace. Mathilde and her husband attended the gala and had a great time. Mathilde looked very pretty, elegant, and graceful. Everyone at the party noticed her, and they all wanted to be introduced to her. She was so glorified by her beauty that she became very careless. They arrived home in the early hours of the morning. When Mathilde viewed her glory in the mirror, she realized that the necklace was missing. They searched for it everywhere in the house. They wondered if it fell in the cab that brought them home, but neither of them noticed the number. Matilda's husband went out to search the streets but returned empty-handed. He also went to the policeman and to the cab officers to raise a complaint. He advertised it in the newspaper and offered a reward. To buy some time from Jean, Matilda wrote a letter that she broke the necklace's clasp, and so she sent it for repair. In the meantime, they found a similar kind of necklace. The cost of the necklace was 36,000 francs. Her husband inherited 18,000 francs from his father, and he borrowed the rest of the amount from the money lenders. Finally, they purchased the necklace and Matilda gave it to Jean, who did not care to look at it. Matilda's life changed dramatically in the next 10 years. They moved to a much smaller apartment where she cooked and cleaned herself. Her husband did multiple jobs and she also did other work to pay all the money they had borrowed. After 10 years, they were able to pay all the money back, but by then, Matilda had aged a lot. One day, Matilda met Jean Forrester. She decided to confess the truth about the necklace. Jean was surprised to see Matilda's state. Matilda told her that she had lost the necklace that she borrowed from her and had to pay a huge amount for the replacement. Jean was so shocked to hear the entire story behind the necklace, and she confessed that the necklace Matilda borrowed was a fake one, which was not more than worth 500 francs. What a mind-blowing plot twist, right? Now that we already know the summary of the story, The Necklace, let us now analyze the story in the lens of formalist approach. So let us define first what is formalist. It discovers the true meaning of a work by giving attention to the form or structure, elements and literary devices operating in it. Structure or form scrutinizes the plot chronologically and the conflict in a story. It also studies how the elements work together to form unity and to give meaning to a text. So, let us identify or analyze the characters in the story. The first character is Mathilde Loisel. Mathilde is the protagonist of the story, and her dissatisfaction with her social class and longing for a more luxurious lifestyle drive the plot's conflict. She is described as beautiful and charming woman but is unhappy with her middle-class life. Mathilde becomes more materialistic as the story progresses. She longs for luxuries such as furs, diamonds, and lavish clothing. However, her character transforms after losing the necklace and having to work hard to repay the debts. And it leads her to the realization that happiness is not solely defined by material possessions. The second character in the story is Monsieur Loisel, Mathilde's supportive husband, who works hard to provide for his family and keep his wife content. He is depicted as a kind, patient, and understanding man committed to making his wife happy. His love for Mathilde is evident when he agrees to give up his savings and loans them the rest of the money needed to replace the lost necklace. Monsieur acts as a foil to Mathilde's desires, prioritizing their family's well-being over material possessions and social status. The third or the last character is Madame Forrester, Mathilde's wealthy friend. Madame Jean Forrester treats Mathilde kindly, but Mathilde is bitterly jealous of Madame Forrester's wealth, and the kindness pains her. She is horrified to realize that Mathilde has wasted her life trying to pay for a replacement necklace, when the original necklace had actually been worth nothing. Now let's move on to the setting of the short story, its time and its place. It was during 1884, Paris, France, Loisel's apartment, and also at the party at the Ministry of Education's mansion. Now let's move on to the story's plot. First is the exposition. Set in Paris, France in 1880, a young middle-class woman dreams of a lifestyle far beyond her reach. One day, her husband comes home with tickets to attend a very affluent party, and she is excited to attend but upset that she will look dowdy. The conflict of the plot: Matilda Loisel is not wealthy, yet she dreams to be. Her husband gives her money to buy a dress, but she is not satisfied until she asks a wealthy friend for a necklace to borrow. And for the rising action, at the ball, Loisel is a hit, but the necklace goes missing. After days of searching, she and her husband decide to replace it with one that looks identical. The replacement costs more money than they make, and it takes them 10 years to pay it off. And for the climax, after 10 years of hard work and struggles, the couple pays off all their debts. And the falling action: one day Matilda is walking to the market and sees that her friend that she borrowed the necklace from. She decides to tell her what happened. And for the resolution, the friend Forrester tells Matilda that the necklace was a false or a fake one. The reader is left contemplating the irony of the situation. So that's the plot of the short story, The Necklace. Now, let's talk about the point of view of the story. This short story is told from the third-person limited point of view. The author focuses on Matilda's thoughts and feelings. And let's now move on to the symbols found in the short story, The Necklace. Of course, the first symbol is the necklace. The necklace represents two of the story's themes. First, the link between beauty and the entitlement, and the painful clash of fantasy and reality. It appears to be beautiful and shining piece of jewelry in a satin case. When Madame Loisel borrows it, she thinks it is beautiful and valuable, and it validates her sense of self-importance and makes her feel at ease in a grand setting. For the first time, she feels a sense of rightness in her life. Her entitlement is on display. Also, the ball is indeed the single most important event of her life, but not in the way Madame Loisel expects, as she works for the next 10 years to pay off the price of the replacement necklace. And the necklace itself is worth little. Like her aspirations, it's a sham made of paste and glass. The next symbol is the cab. The cab symbolizes the Loisel's descent into shabby and dark circumstances. So we all know that roads, paths, vehicles that travel over them often appear in fiction as symbols for life and change as they carry characters from one point to another. The cab in the necklace is not a regular cab, for the Loisels cannot find one to bring them home. They must walk in the cold to find transportation as regular cabs pass them by. So no trace of it, or the glittering piece of jewelry presumably left inside, exists after it completes its ominous mission. They end up in an old, shabby nightcab, one that is ashamed to show its shabbiness during the day. It is almost as though that Loisel's board as a ghost cab. It seems to appear out of nowhere, cannot show itself in daylight, and vanishes after they leave it. The third or the last symbol found in the short story The Necklace is the Do de Martilla. The ghost cab brings the Loisels home to their apartment on Rue de Martyrs, French for Street of the Martyrs. The name symbolizes the situation in which the Loisels find themselves. They become martyrs to duty. Like the religious martyrs for whom the street is named, the Loisels suffers the death of their former life because of the loss of the necklace. Madame Loisel is a martyr to her own beliefs, and her old self symbolically dies for them as she loses her youth and beauty. Her sudden heroism in accepting her fate may be seen as another interpretation of her martyrdom. She gains depth of character by renouncing her comfort and laboring for years to do what she believes she must. And that's what she did for the 10 years, for the past 10 years. Let's now talk about the themes of the story. First is wealth and social status. The theme of wealth and social status pervades in the story, with Matilda's character yearning for a luxurious lifestyle and social recognition. The author portrays the allure of wealth and the consequences of prioritizing wealth over personal happiness. Matilda's obsession with material possessions leads to her downfall and difficult living standards after realizing that the necklace she desperately wanted to keep up appearance was a fake. She realizes that the status or social status she has so longed for was not worth the suffering she had to endure for years, leading to her eventual transformation. The next theme is about appearance versus reality. The theme of appearance versus reality is present in the story, with the necklace serving as a symbol of false appearances and materialism. Matilda is so concerned with the appearances that she borrows the necklace to impress her friends, not knowing that it is a fake. This theme highlights the characters' actions and decisions based on what they want people to think of them rather than who they genuinely are. And let's now talk about the surprise ending or the irony of the story. The necklace is well known for its surprise ending, similar to those written by O. Henry, an author from the late 800s, known for his unexpected plot twist. In the story, the twist changes everything we thought we knew. Throughout the story, we believe that Matilda's 10 years of hardship are the punishment for losing the borrowed necklace and for enjoying one night of the luxury. However, the ending reveals that these 10 years of suffering could have been avoided if Matilda had just told the truth to Madame Forrester about losing the necklace. It turns out that Matilda's real necklace or real mistake wasn't losing the necklace, but not being honest about it. This shocking revelation makes us see the earlier events in a new light and suggests that Matilda's future won't be bright even though she has finally paid off her debts. The horrible irony in the necklace is that Loisel spent years paying off a replacement for a necklace that turned out to be worthless. Another ironic twist is that Matilde, who borrowed the necklace to look more beautiful, loses her beauty due to the hard work she has to do to repay the debt. The most bitter irony is that the difficult life Matilde faces after losing the necklace makes her old life, which she used to hate before, seem luxurious in comparison. She borrows Madame Forrester's necklace to appear wealthier, only to lose what little she actually has. In the end, she pays a huge price, both in money and in looks, for something that wasn't even valuable at all. Alright, so let us now move on to the other approach that we will be using or that can be deduced in this story. So that is realism. So realism started in France in the mid 1800s and rejected the Romantic movement's idealized characters, instead aiming to portray them realistically. Realist literature often focused on the lives of middle class people like Matilde and her husband in The Necklace, showing their actions and consequences without much subjectivity. It emphasized social and cultural influences, rationalism, and scientific reasoning. Flaubert was an early realist writer known for his novels Madame Bovary (1857) and Sentimental Education (1869). Realism also influenced artists like Gustave Courbet, Edgar Degas, and Edward Manet. Alright, so realism in the story, Maupassant, like his mentor Flaubert, believed that fiction should depict reality as accurately as possible. He aimed to be objective, avoiding deep psychological analysis or romantic descriptions. Instead, he focused on clear plots and specific observable details. However, he argued that fiction isn't truly realistic because it's an illusion created by the writer to produce a certain effect on readers. He was dedicated to facts and believed that careful observation could reveal new insight into ordinary aspects of life. The Necklace shows Maupassant's focus on facts and observations. Instead of delving into Matilda's longing for wealth or dissatisfaction with her life, Maupassant simply describes her unhappiness and desires. At the end of the story, he doesn't offer any moral or explain Matilda's reaction to Madame Forrester's shocking revelation. He just reports what happens. So there is no pretense, idealizing, or artifice to Maupassant's prose or treatment of his characters. Alright, so we are now at the last part of this vlog, the conclusion part. So the story of The Necklace by Guy De Maupassant is indeed a powerful reminder of the dangers of materialism and the allure of social status. The character's preoccupation with appearances offers the reader a valuable lesson about the value of personal fulfillment over material possessions. Matilda's character transformation shows how priorities can change, leading to a better existence. De Maupassant's literary genius will continue to influence our society to avoid the pitfalls of materialism and find true happiness. Also, it gives us a strong message on human values. The very first thing that this lesson teaches us is that everyone should be content in life, whatever little we have. We have to live within our means, also, or else we invite unnecessary problems like anxieties, confusions in life. The most important message of this story is that we should be who we are, or who we really are. There is a facade among most of individuals that they just want to be like someone else, or someone who they are not, so that they can be liked by people. But all individuals need to learn the fact that you can change what your policy doesn't even need to be like someone. You are best as you are, and you are unique in your own way. And with that ends my vlog today, and I hope you liked and learned a lot from this short story. So I'll be ending this vlog with this quotation from Francois: "When we cannot find contentment in ourselves, it is useless to seek it elsewhere." Again, thank you so much, and I hope you learned something from this vlog. See you again on my next vlog. Bye!